All right, what's happening, everybody? It's your man Akeem here to recap Week 13 of the college football season, the rivalry week. Now, you already know that why I'm so happy because my Texas Longhorns on Thursday night beat our rival Texas A&M 27-25. As you can see, I got my Longhorn gear on, the shirt, the hat. I'm looking fresh to death. Got a nice beard shave, and I'm getting everything going. I'm just so excited to have my Longhorns beat arch rival Texas A&M in our final meeting as Big 12 foes. Texas A&M is going to be joining the SEC Conference next season. But a little bit talk about the game. I do like the defensive effort from the Longhorns, especially when my man Carrington Bynum intercepted the ball and returned it 58 yards for a touchdown. And then sealing the deal, Justin Tucker kicked the game-winning field goal as time expired. Now, overall, for this arch rivalry between these two teams, the overall record dating back to 1894, my Texas Longhorns prevailed 76-37-5. We ended up having the best overall record and the last laugh with the game victory in our final meeting. Sorry about you Texas A&M Aggies, but for all due respect, I wish you guys the best of luck in the SEC Conference. Heading towards Friday's games, Houston played Tulsa and they ended up beating them 48-16. I like to congratulate Pat Edwards, the star receiver for the Houston Cougars, for surpassing Jared Dilliard in the career yardage march receiving in the Conference USA Conference. Good job, Pat. You had an outstanding career in Houston. Now, Houston is going to be playing against Southern Mississippi for that Conference USA Championship. If they win, they will make it to a BCS bowl game for the first time in conference history. Nobody from the Conference USA Conference made it to a BCS bowl bid, and I think Houston can be that first team beating Southern Miss. But I'll keep you guys posted on that key matchup this week. Headed into the Big East Conference, West Virginia had a brawl against arch rival Pittsburgh to a 21-20 victory, just a 1-point win. It was pretty much going back and forth in the first half. Pitt had control of the game, but with the determination of West Virginia ended up prevailing with a 1-point victory, staying alive for at least the share of the Big East Championship. Now, Louisville, they played South Florida also on Friday and won 34-24. So they clinched at least a share already, clinched at least a share of the Big East Championship, depending on the outcoming of West Virginia's game against South Florida next week, and Cincinnati, who beat Syracuse 30-13. Cincinnati is still alive for a share of the Big East Championship if they beat Connecticut next week. And I'll keep you guys posted on those key matchups. Also on Friday, the game of the week between number 1 LSU and number 3 Arkansas. LSU and Arkansas were neck to neck in the first half, but LSU ended up pulling away in the second half, getting the 41-17 victory. And they're looking to stay number 1, and they're looking to face Georgia for the SEC title. And speaking of Georgia, they beat arch rival Georgia Tech 31-17, and they're looking for that SEC championship. And I think it's going to be a great match, and I'll keep you guys posted on those matches later on this week. Sticking in the SEC Conference, Alabama and Auburn played in their annual Iron Bowl, in which Alabama won 42-14. I think Trent Richardson pretty much sealed his Heisman campaign, and I think he has a clear shot of winning the Heisman Trophy because of this brilliant performance against arch rival Auburn. 203 yards rushing in this matchup. I think he just outbid it a little bit over Andrew Luck, and maybe another person who I will describe later on in this video. I think another person who should be considered for the Heisman Trophy, and I'll let you know just a little bit in just a second. But going back to Andrew Luck, he ended up setting a career high, career mark, passing John Elway in passing touchdowns with 4 touchdown passes in their win over arch rival Notre Dame 28-14. He ended up passing John Elway, and that kind of boosted up a little bit of his Heisman votes as well. But I think Trent Richardson had just a little bit of a notch over him because he does play in the SEC Conference and just plummeted arch rival Auburn to 203 yards rushing. He had a great game. Staying in the Pac-12 Conference, Oregon needed to lose their game against Oregon State in order for Stanford to make it to the Pac-12 championship. But the Beavers could not handle Oregon's speed, and Oregon ended up beating them 49-21. But it was an embarrassing loss for Oregon State, but not as embarrassing for UCLA, who got killed by USC 50-0. A big goose egg. Now, this is the same UCLA team is going to face Oregon in the Pac-12 championship, and this is pretty pathetic in my opinion. That's pretty much just one word to describe this team based on this performance: pathetic. And they're facing against a great Oregon offense who had 610 yards of total offense against Oregon. I have no clue how UCLA is going to handle that, but I'll keep you guys posted on that key matchup later on this week. Going into the Big Ten Conference, Michigan State got their 10th win with the victory over Northwestern 31-17. They were looking to face the winner of the Penn State-Wisconsin matchup to see who will face them for the Big Ten Championship. And it was an outstanding performance by running back Monty Ball of the Wisconsin Badgers. 156 yards and 4 touchdowns as Wisconsin won 45-7. Now, Monty Ball is that other player that I was just talking about a couple of seconds ago who should be considered for the Heisman Trophy. He has 34 total touchdowns, 5 shy of Barry Sanders, and he still has 2 games left in the season, and he could break Barry Sanders' record because of his efforts for Wisconsin, and especially being overshadowed by quarterback Russell Wilson. Monty Ball should definitely be considered for the Heisman Trophy and at least get a ticket to New York because of this performance in his year-round efforts for the Badgers offense. He had a great year. 34 touchdowns. Wow, I did not think anybody would be close to Barry Sanders' record, and he has a shot of beating him with 2 games left in the season. Going into the ACC Conference, Va-Tech blanked Virginia 38-0, claiming the Coastal Division and facing Clemson for the ACC title. And speaking of Clemson, I have no clue what is wrong with this team. They ended up getting crushed by South Carolina 34-13. They were playing like the team that everybody expected earlier in the season, and they ended up starting the season 9-0, lost the next 2 games, and then lost their arch rivals to South Carolina, and they're looking to face Va-Tech. Now, Va-Tech is looking to avenge their lone loss to Clemson in the ACC championship, and I think they have a clear shot of winning because of how much the Tigers dropped this season going on to the second half. I have no clue what's going to happen with this team, but they need to get their things together and to face Va-Tech and win that ACC championship and keep their title hopes on the line. Going into other rivalry games that I talked about on last week, I had a lot of games to talk about. Florida faced Florida State in their in-state rivalry, and it was a good defensive effort. And both teams combined for just 279 yards of total offense. 95 of those yards went to Florida State, and they won the game 21-7 because Florida committed 4 turnovers, and that was the difference maker of that matchup, and that's why Florida State ended up winning. They ended up taking advantage of the turnovers from the Gators. Also, a couple other games I talked about: Apple Cup between Washington and Washington State, another in-state rivalry in which the Huskies won 38-21. Also, the Egg Bowl between Mississippi State and Ole Miss, another in-state rivalry, the Egg Bowl, as everybody knows about, in which Vic Ballard, the running back for the Bulldogs, rushed for over 1,000 yards and ended up helping Mississippi State win 31-3. Good victory for Mississippi State, who is now eligible to play in the bowl game. And arguably the best rivalry in college football history: Ohio State against Michigan. It was a great showdown between both quarterbacks, Braxton Miller of Ohio State and Michigan's Denard Robinson. These 2 players, they put up a great show in this matchup, in which Michigan ended up pulling off the 40-34 victory, blanking off a 7-year hex against Ohio State. Losing 7 years in a row, they finally got their win in Brady Hoke's first year as head coach. Now, pretty much to describe how Michigan won this game, because Denard Robinson just outplayed Braxton Miller. Both these 2 teams played terrific. 2 players played terrifically. Now, pretty much, Braxton Miller passed for 2 touchdown passes and rushed for 1, while Denard Robinson passed for 3 touchdown passes and 2 touchdown rushes, himself rushing for 107 yards on the ground. He had a big game, and he was pretty much showing that why he was one of the top players of the Big Ten Conference this season. He had a great game, and he just pretty much outplayed Miller, who is just a freshman, and he has a lot of upcoming games later on in his future in college football. But it was a great matchup between these 2 teams, and I congratulate the Wolverines for finally getting off that 7-year hex over Ohio State. Now, overall, the BCS standings kind of changed up a little bit. LSU and Alabama still remains number 1 and number 2. The new number 3 is Oklahoma State, got back to number 3. Stanford reached number 4. Va-Tech stayed at number 5. And at number 6 is Houston. They jumped up 2 slots. Boise State is number 7. Arkansas dropped all the way down to number 8. Oregon and OU, Oklahoma, they ended up switching spots. Oregon is now number 9, while Oklahoma State is number 10. We've still got big championships to go this week in college football: the SEC championship, the ACC championship, Pac-12, Big Ten, Conference USA, and I'll keep you guys posted on all these key matchups. Now, overall, this week I had a pretty busy week. I posted a lot of videos, I did a lot of hard work, and my overall record, this is my best week. Here it is, 22-2 out of 24 games, just 2 losses. I did work so hard for these videos, and I thank you guys so much for watching them. 22-2 was my overall record, bumping up my percentage over 70%. My overall record, I'm so happy. I had a great week, tiring week, but I had a good time posting up these videos, and I thank you guys again for watching these vlogs. Now, throughout this week, starting on Wednesday, I'm going to keep you guys posted on all these key matchups, and for every key matchup, I'm going to give you an individual video to break down that game individually instead of just breaking down a bunch of games together like I normally do. We're getting towards the end of the season, especially this is going to be championship week. I got to break down the videos one by one instead of just bunching a bunch of videos together. And I'll keep you guys posted throughout the week starting on Wednesday. Thank you for watching this vlog from Pro Football Exclusive. I'm your man, Akeem McCall. Be easy.